My wife handed me a positive pregnancy test. It's not yours, but you'll raise it. I smiled and replied, congratulations. Then I showed her the video of her confession and the vasectomy report I got 6 months ago. Her face as I handed her the divorce papers. I, 38 male, work as a senior risk analyst. My job is to stare at data all day and find the one tiny variable that's out of place. The one number that's lying. I find it, I pull the thread, and the whole faulty system unravels. I'm meticulous. I'm patient. I'm not a fictional hero. I'm just a man who knows how to read the patterns. My wife, Alara, 35, always said she loved that about me. She called it my stable genius. She, on the other hand, is impulsive, passionate, all big emotions. We were the opposites attract cliché. We've been married for 7 years, no kids, a decision she was always very, very clear on. She didn't want to ruin her body or give up her freedom. I was fine with that. About a year ago, I started noticing a new pattern. Her work husband, Reed, a new guy in her marketing department, late-night project deadlines, dinners with the team that I was never invited to, the scent of a cologne that wasn't mine on her jacket. It was just data. I didn't get angry. I got methodical. 6 months ago, I did something. I told Alara I was considering a vasectomy, just to be extra safe, since we were so sure about no kids. She was thrilled. Yes, darling. Perfect. Take control. So I went and had the procedure. I just never told her when the appointment was, or that I'd already gone and been cleared. I let her believe it was just a future plan. I also installed a small voice-activated audio recorder in her car. Our state is a one-party consent state. I am that one party. For 6 months, I've just been gathering data, listening to her calls with her best friend, Alyssa, listening to her and Reed, waiting. I knew it was coming. I just didn't know how. Then, last night, it happened. She walked into my study. I was reviewing a file. She didn't look nervous. She looked smug, triumphant. Victor, she said, her voice dripping with false concern. We need to talk. She slid a positive pregnancy test onto my desk right on top of a quarterly risk report. I looked at it. I looked at her. I played my part. Wow, I said. That's unexpected. Isn't it? She said, her smile widening. We're pregnant. I leaned back. Alara, we haven't been intimate in almost 3 months. I've been busy with work. Her smile didn't falter. She was ready for this. I know, honey, she said, leaning on the desk. And that's the thing. I need to be honest, it's not yours. She let that hang in the air. This was her big move. It's Reed's, she said, as if discussing the weather. I know this is a shock, but my feelings for him, it doesn't matter. What matters is us. I just stared, waiting for the rest of the data. I'm not leaving you, Victor. Don't be silly. She laughed, a light, airy sound. I'm not giving up this house. I'm not giving up my life. Reed can't give me this. She gestured around my study, my house, the one I bought and paid for 5 years before I ever met her. So, you'll raise it, she stated. You'll be the father, it'll be our baby, and we will never ever speak of Reed again. It's the only logical solution, you'll see. There it was, the entire faulty system laid bare. I smiled, a small, tight smile. Congratulations, I said. Her smugness faltered, just a fraction. She was expecting yelling, tears, begging. That's it? She asked. Congratulations? Yes, I said. You've run quite the scenario, but you've missed a few variables. I swiveled in my chair and opened the bottom drawer of my desk. I pulled out a large brown manila envelope. My dossier. What's that? She asked, her voice suddenly tight. I slid out the first paper. This, I said, is my vasectomy report, from 6 months ago. The follow-up test confirms a 0 sperm count. I am, as they say, shooting blanks. Her face went from pale to a sickly, greenish white. The blood just left. You lied to me, she whispered. I omitted a timeline. Yes, you seemed so happy with the idea of it, I didn't want to rush you. I slid out the second item, a small black USB drive. And this, I said, is from your car. My favorite is the 45-minute call with Alyssa from last Tuesday, the one where you planned this entire conversation. Your exact words were, he's too weak to leave. He'll just accept it. He's a born provider, not a fighter. Her eyes were wide with panic. You spied on me. That's illegal. You can't. One-party consent, Alara. I'm the one party. It's perfectly admissible. And finally, I said, sliding out the thick stack of papers I'd had my lawyer Kira draw up 3 months ago. These, divorce papers, adultery, fraud, already signed and notarized by me. I stood up and walked around the desk. I handed her the entire envelope. My lawyer will be serving you officially tomorrow morning. You are not on the deed to this house. You are not on the mortgage. You are a guest, and your stay is over. You have 48 hours to schedule a time to retrieve your personal belongings. She didn't faint. She didn't cry. She imploded. You bastard, she shrieked, throwing the papers at me. You tricked me. You set me up. You knew. You set yourself up, I said, picking up the vasectomy report. You just miscalculated the risk. I am pregnant. You can't do this. You can't throw a pregnant woman out. I'll tell everyone. You should probably tell Reed. He's the father. After all, he needs to prepare. You're going to need his help. She stared at me, her chest heaving. She finally saw the man she'd married, the one who pulls the thread. I am not leaving, she hissed. This is my house. I'll see you in hell. You'll see me in court, I replied. I opened my study door. Get out. She's gone. For now, she's at Alyssa's. The first thing I did after she left was call my locksmith. New high-security locks on all doors. New codes on the garage and the security system. Then I called Kira. It's done. She knows. Execute the plan. I'm sitting in my study. It's quiet. I'm out the cost of a locksmith and about to be out tens of thousands in legal fees. But the faulty system is unraveling, and I'm just waiting. Update 1. It's been 2 weeks. The shock and awe phase from Alara has morphed into a full-blown entitlement offensive. I'm not a sociopath anymore, her word via text. I'm now a financial terrorist. It's creative. First, the legal salvo. Kira, my lawyer, is a shark who wears pearls. She had Alara officially served at 8 a.m. the next morning as promised. Alara responded by hiring the sleaziest, most billboard-famous divorce lawyer in the area, a guy named Mr. Finch. Finch's first letter was a masterpiece of legal fiction. It demanded immediate exclusive use of the marital home, my premarital solely owned house, an emergency spousal support payment of $15,000 per month, that I pay his $20,000 retainer, that all illegal surveillance, the legal audio from my car, be destroyed, and that I pay $100,000 in punitive damages for emotional distress. Kira's response was, in her words, a polite get stuffed. She attached the deed, title, and mortgage origination documents for my house, all dated 5 years before the marriage. Miss is a tenant at will who has been given notice. She attached my vasectomy report. She attached a notarized transcript of the audio, highlighting the part where Alara and Alyssa planned to defraud me by committing paternity fraud. She informed Mr. Finch that our state is one-party consent, and his client's emotional distress was a consequence of her own conspiracy. She counteroffered. Alara gets nothing but her personal belongings, and she has 24 hours to schedule a civil standby. This, apparently, was not the answer Alara wanted. The dirty tricks and the police. This is where it gets predictable, but still so aggravating. Last Friday night, 10 p.m., pounding on my front door. Not a polite knock, a bam bam bam. I checked my new security camera feed. It was Alara, her friend Alyssa, and her father Barnaby. Barnaby is a big, red-faced man who sells HVAC systems and thinks he's a street brawler. I spoke through the doorbell camera. This is a private residence. Please leave. Victor, you son of a... Barnaby yelled, his face purple. You open this door right now. You can't just throw my daughter out. I'm not, I said calmly. I'm divorcing her. This is my house. She's welcome to schedule a retrieval of her things through her lawyer. She is pregnant. This was Alyssa, shrieking from the lawn. You're throwing a pregnant woman onto the street. What kind of monster are you? The kind who won't be paying for his wife's affair with Reed, I said. She's pregnant with his child. She can go live with him. There was a pause. A beautiful, confused pause. Alara, he's lying. He's abusive. He's holding my things hostage. Barnaby started kicking the door. I'm going to break it down, Victor. I'll break your jaw. I'm calling the police, I said. You are on camera attempting to break and enter and making threats of violence. I called 911. The police arrived in 5 minutes. Alara, of course, burst into tears the second she saw them. The woman as victim switch was flipped. Officers, thank God, she wailed. My husband, he's having some kind of breakdown. He locked me out. I'm pregnant. He's not stable. He stole all my things. 2 officers, one older, one younger. The older one, Officer Diaz, looked bone-tired. "Sir," he said to me through the still-closed door, "we have a report of a domestic dispute, an illegal eviction. You need to open the door." "Good evening, officers," I said, opening the door just a crack with the chain still on. "There is no dispute. This is my home, purchased in 2015. I held up my phone, showing them the deed's front page, clearly in my name. My wife and I are separating due to her infidelity. She has already retained counsel, a Mr. Finch. My lawyer is Kira, last name. This is a civil matter. Her father, Mr. Barnaby, last name there, has just attempted to kick in my door and threatened me with violence. You can check my camera footage." Officer Diaz just sighed. He looked at Barnaby, then at Alara. "Ma'am," he said, "is your name on the deed to this house?" "Well, no, but it's our house. We've been married for 7 years. My things are in there. My clothes, my family heirlooms. He's holding them." "Sir, you have to let her retrieve her property," the younger officer said. "I am more than willing to, officer," I said. "My lawyer has offered a formal civil standby. They refused it. I am not letting 3 people, one of whom has threatened me, into my home at 10 p.m. They can schedule it for tomorrow with a police escort. That is the legal and safe way to do this." Officer Diaz nodded. "Ma'am, he's right. This is a civil matter. We cannot force entry. You need to call your lawyer and schedule a time to get your property. And Mr. Barnaby," he said, turning to her father, "you threaten him again or kick that door and I'll take you in for attempted trespass. Go home. All of you." The look of pure, unadulterated rage on Alara's face was illuminating. This was not how her plan was supposed to go. She was supposed to be the victim. I was supposed to be the villain. The cops were supposed to fix it for her. She's now escalated. Finch filed an emergency motion this morning. He's claiming I'm unstable and destroying her priceless personal property and irreplaceable family heirlooms. This is a lie, a complete fabrication. She's trying to get a judge to grant her access. The hearing is set for next week. I'm looking forward to it, because I know exactly what heirloom she's talking about. And I have a file for that too. Owen Reed, the father? Alara's been calling him non-stop. I know because she's been, mistakenly, leaving me 2-minute-long pocket dial voicemails of her screaming at him. "You have to help me, Reed. He's kicking me out." "What do you mean? It's your problem. You're the father. Don't you dare hang up on me." It seems Reed was just a fun coworker, not a provider. The data's all coming in. Final update. It's been 3 weeks. The divorce is not finalized, but the war is effectively over. I won. But winning in this context is just surviving with your assets mostly intact. The hearing. We all gathered in a sterile, beige-colored family court hearing room. Me, Kira, Alara, Mr. Finch. Alara was wearing a drab gray dress, clearly trying to look downtrodden and pregnant. It wasn't working, she just looked sour. Finch started. He was slick. "Your Honor, we are here on an emergency basis. My client, Miss That, Alara's last name, a pregnant woman, has been unlawfully evicted by her unstable husband." He gestured at me. "He is currently holding her priceless, irreplaceable personal property hostage. We are asking for immediate exclusive access to the home to retrieve these items." The judge, a no-nonsense woman in her 50s, looked over her glasses. "Unstable? On what grounds?" He has been spying on her, Your Honor. He's paranoid, and he's threatened to destroy her things." Alara put in, her voice cracking perfectly. "What things specifically?" the judge asked, looking at Finch. A collection of antique illustrated books, Your Honor," Finch said, checking his notes. "Bequeathed to her by her great-aunt. They are of immense sentimental and financial value." I almost smiled. Kira stood up. "Your Honor, this is a complete fabrication. My client, Mr. Victor's last name, is a medical historian and a known collector of antique medical texts. The collection Mr. Finch is referring to belongs to my client. We have the itemized insurance appraisals, purchase receipts, and auction records right here, all in his name, all predating the marriage by at least a decade." Kira, my shark, slid a new dossier across the table. Dossier Part 2. The judge started flipping through it. Mr. Finch's face went blank. "In fact, Your Honor," Kira continued, "it is my client who is the victim of theft. While Miss Alara's last name was packing to leave, the day before her pregnancy confrontation, she was recorded on my client's internal study camera." Alara's head snapped up. "After discovering the external audio, my client took steps to protect his actual valuables. This camera footage shows Miss Alara's name entering my client's safe, the code to which she apparently stole, and removing a 19th century surgical kit, an actual family heirloom belonging to my client's great-great-grandfather. Kira's voice was cold. We also have this. She slid over a single piece of paper, a pawnshop receipt, from 2 days after Alara left my house. She sold his great-great-grandfather's heirloom, Your Honor, for $800, to pay, we assume, for Mr. Finch's retainer. The silence in the courtroom was absolute. Mr. Finch looked at Alara. He was livid. He'd been lied to. Alara was literally shaking, her face bright red. He owed me. He lied to me. The judge took off her glasses. Miss Alara's last name, are you telling me you filed a false motion, lied about these heirlooms, and are now admitting to stealing and selling your husband's property while pregnant with another man's child? Is that the gist of this? Q. This hearing is over, the judge said, her voice like steel. Motion for emergency access is denied. Mr. Victor's last name's motion for exclusive use of his separate property is granted. A civil standby will be scheduled with a court-appointed marshal present. And Miss Alara's last name, I strongly suggest you return that $800 or you will be facing a criminal theft charge. We are done here. The civil standby. It happened 2 days later. Alara showed up. No parents, no Alyssa. Just her and a U-Haul van driven by a guy she clearly hired off an app. The marshal stood by the door. I stood in my entryway. She was all business, furiously packing her 300 pairs of shoes and 80 designer bags into boxes. She was visibly pregnant now. She looked tired and angry. She didn't speak to me until the very end. She was taping up a box of bathroom supplies. You could have just accepted it, Victor, she muttered, not looking at me. We could have been happy. It could have been easy. No, I said, leaning against the doorframe. You could have been comfortable. I would have been a prisoner. So what? She snapped, finally looking at me. You're a provider. You're stable. That's your job. You had to go and ruin it. You couldn't even be a man and raise another man's kid for me. The entitlement. It was terminal. Where's Reed? I asked. Her face crumpled. He moved. Transferred to the West Coast office. He blocked me. He said I was too much drama. The natural, predictable consequence. The AP was a coward, not a provider. That's a shame, I said. The marshal says your time is up. The final resolution. The divorce was brutal, but fast. Once the theft was on the table, Alara had no leverage. I agreed to drop the criminal charges for theft. I'd already bought my surgical kit back from the pawn shop, another $1,200 loss for me to fix her crime. In exchange, she signed everything. She walked away with her clothes, her car, which was in her name, thank God, and her personal debt. She got no alimony. She got no stake in my house. She got no part of my pension or my collections. The judge finalized it based on the clear evidence of fraud and dissipation of assets, the theft. I'm still here, in my house. It's quiet. I'm out about $50,000 in legal fees. I'm out the $1,200 to get my heirloom back. I'm out 7 years of my life. So in a very real way, I lost. But I'm free. The faulty system is gone. I heard from a former mutual friend that Alara is living with her parents. Barnaby and Fiona are apparently not happy about funding her and the baby. She's due soon. I'm just done. I'm not celebrating. I'm not going on a trip. I'm sitting in my study, looking at my 19th century surgical kit back on its shelf, and I'm just analyzing the data. The pattern is clear, and I'm glad I pulled the thread.